Hello class, this is Mrs. Groves, and today we are going to do more review of the rules of exponents. This warm-up, the 8.2 warm-up, has examples that will be for the numbers and quantity exponent standard, and these are the meets criteria. So here, for numbers and quantity, notice these are all numbers on the front page. No calculator is allowed. On the back, this is to prepare you for the Chapter 8 Exponent Algebra test. You can use a calculator. You still have to show your work. But now we have numbers and variables. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to go through all of the odd problems and should do all of the odd problems verbally. And then I'm going to play music for the even problems so that you can do them on your own. Before we get started, I want everyone to get an index card and to write down the laws of exponents for Chapter 8. We have the product rule, we have the zero rule, we have the quotient rule, and we have the power rule. So I'm going to go through each of these rules so that you can refer to them. This is the foundation for doing all of these problems. And you just have to remember order of operations. So follow these rules with order of operations. So, the product rule. If you have the same base, you add the exponents. So, x squared times x cubed is going to be x2 plus 3, and that gives you x to the 5th. The zero rule. Anything to the zero exponent is 1. So x to the 0 is going to be 1. The quotient rule. Okay, so this is with division. If I have x to the 10th divided by x to the 6th, we subtract exponents. X 10 minus 6 is x to the 4th. And the power rule, if you have power to a power, you multiply exponents. So visually, it's very different. If I have x squared, I have a power inside, and on the outside of the parentheses, I have a power. I multiply the exponents. X 2 times 3 is x to the 6th. So those are the basics that you need to know for the NAQ.c meets standards and for your Chapter test on exponents. So I think that will help you. So for the meat, it says evaluate complex numeric expressions with whole number exponents, demonstrating the ability to use the product, power, and quotient properties. Clearly show all steps to simplify the exponents. Simplify the exponent expression, then evaluate the numbers. Circle the final answer. So here, this is simple. This says that we have our base 10. It's power to power. 2 times 3 is 10 to the 6th. So that's written in as an exponential expression. And then I simplify it. So here, you'll notice it's 10 to the 6th. I'm going to have 6 zeros. So that's 1 million. Three, we've got two things going on. The first thing we do is, with order of operations, we have to do exponents. So we're going to take this 10, and we're not doing anything with that just yet. Then we have power to power. So that's 3 times 3. So I'm going to have 10 times 10 to the 9th. Now the exponent here is 1. Same base, I'm multiplying. So I add the exponents. 10, 1 plus 9 is 10 to the 10th. Make sure to have equal signs here. And my final answer is going to be a 1 with 10 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. So that is 10 billion. Now you're not going to be able to use calculators, so the numbers we're going to be using here are going to be relatively easy. Number 5. Okay, so now what we have is we have to distribute this 3 with both the 2 and there's an implied 1. So for the numerator, it's going to be 2 times 3. And for the denominator, it's going to be 10, 1 times 3. I simplify it, and I get 2 to the 6th over 10 cubed. Two to the 6th, you can do that in your head, is 64. 10 cubed is 1,000. But now I have to reduce. So you can reduce it the long way or the short way. 2 goes into the numerator and denominator, so that's to be 32 over 500. 2 goes into the numerator and the denominator, so that is 16 over 250. 2 goes into the numerator and the denominator, so that's 8 over 125. So there's no common denominators, so I'm done. So when you're dealing with these fractions, take care of the numerator. Right? So the numerator here is power to power. Power to power means we multiply. 3 times 4, which is 3 to the 12th. Then take care of the denominator. Well, that's 3 to the 8th. So that's 3 to the 8th. Now, simplify the fraction. So here I have division, same base, 3. Okay. So clearly show your work and go slowly when you're doing this so that you don't get yourself confused. 12 minus 8 is 3 to the 4th. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. So these are the types of problems that will be the meat for the numbers in quantity exponent standard. So they'll be basically like this. Now for the Chapter 8 test, because we're taking an algebra class, we're going to throw variables in here. Now my biggest recommendation is you make sure you have this card here as you're going through and doing these problems. So here you're going to simplify, clearly show work, circle your final answer. Your answer should contain only positive exponents. Variables are in ABC order, and numbers are improper fractions. So let's get started doing these. So the first thing is we have numbers and we have multiplication. And you're going to want your calculator for this side. So you have 8 times 8 times 3. And if you use your handy dandy calculator, that's going to give you 192. Now we have the variable r. It's multiplication, same base, r, 5, there's an implied 1, plus 1, plus 3. Okay, so here's my variables. Those I'm multiplying. So this is r to the 9th. And you're done. Number 11, now you have division. I look at my numbers, and we know that 2/8 reduces to 1/4. And we have division, so for our variable k, we subtract the exponents, 4 minus 3. So in the numerator, we have k, because 4 minus 3 is k to the first. If you wanted to write this down, 1 times k to the first over 4. But you want to simplify this, so you don't want, this is implied, so you don't need those. So your answer is k divided by 4 in its simplest form. Number 13. We have our numbers. 4/8 is 1/2. We have our variable x to the third. That's all we have for x to the third. We want to do these in order of the variables as far as alphabetical. So x comes before y. For y, notice that we have, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Following the rules of exponents, we're going to get 4 minus 4. So, we know we don't need that 1. We have x cubed y to the 0 over 2. And then you ask yourself, oh, there is another rule. This is 1. And 1 times x cubed gives me x cubed divided by 2. So the next one, we already understand negative numbers. So we're going to distribute this 2. And so we have -4, and don't forget the parentheses, squared. And then we're going to have x, 2 times 2, and y, 4 times 2. Negative 4 squared, we know that a negative number, and this is an even exponent, is going to be positive. So that's going to be 4 squared is 16. X to the 4th, y to the 8th. And that's the final answer. So you're noticing, go slow, follow your rules, and follow order of operations, and you've got this. So now we're going to distribute, this is power to power, this is parentheses. We have to distribute the 3 to everything that's inside the parentheses. So for our numbers, we're going to have 2 to the 3rd over 10 to the 3rd, because we distribute the 3 with everything that's there. And then we have x. There's an implied 1. 1 times 3. And we have y. 5 times 3. So now we're going to go through and simplify everything. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. X to the 3rd, 1 times 3. Y to the 15. 10 to the 3rd is 1,000. We need to reduce this. Some of your calculators can do it. So that's going to become 4 over 500. Okay, so 4 can go into both the numerator and the denominator. So I'm going to have x cubed, y to the 15. 4 goes into 8 twice. 4 goes into 1,250. So this is preparing you for the Chapter 8 test. So now I'm going to let you work on these on your own. I'm going to do them to music. You should start working on these yourselves, and then you can follow along if you get stuck. I don't want you to simply copy these down. I want you to try to do these yourselves. So you start. I'll start in a minute. So you should be done with the front. I'm going on to the back now.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. All the morning sun and all its glory, rich is day with hope and comfort too. And you fill my life with laughter, you can make it better. Ease my troubles, that's what you do. Cause the love is divine, and the joy is mine, like the sun. At the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one. Say, have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Cause the love is divine, and the love that's mine, and it shines like the sun. At the end of the day, we will give thanks and praise to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? Well, my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my trouble, that's what you do. Take away my sadness, fill my life with gladness, ease my trouble, that's what you do. Fill my life with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my trouble, that's what you do.
All right, so those are excellent examples to practice with. I created this YouTube video because students usually have a difficult time doing following the rules of exponents. So what I suggest, if you're still having difficulties after doing these problems, and you're going to do several more worksheets for practice, that you go back and you watch this YouTube video. And you take out a sheet of paper and you just do them along with me, and make sure that with this index card right here, it has the rules. And if there's things that you feel that would be a good idea to put on the back of it, then you might want to add some more explanations to make it easier for you. So don't get frustrated. Know these rules. Follow order of operations. Go slowly. Show your work clearly, and you'll be just fine. Have a good day.